Alright, what is up everyone? Welcome to another Super Smash Bros. Video. Today we're going to be talking more specifically, on yesterday's video I talked about the actual cancellation of Smash World Tour. Today we're going to be investigating more of the details that go into PandaCup and the specific PandaCup section of the Smash World Tour official statement, because this is actually really big, especially if you do not know much about PandaCup compared to Smash World Tour, because I know a lot of people don't understand the difference between these two tournaments and the big shady thing that's going on with the PandaCup intertwining into Smash World Tour and the potential sabotages that PandaCup actually did. So starting off with the start of the conversation and the start of the statement here, Smash World Tour, the people who wrote the statement, mentioned that PandaCup was recruiting for their events all at the same time. So if you guys don't know, PandaCup is a similar circuit to the Smash World Tour, where they were holding events yearly, all year long. Well, they've been holding events and qualifiers to qualify for their big final tournament, right? It sounds exactly like the Smash World Tour. The only difference is that PandaCup was partnered directly with Nintendo, and Smash World Tour was a private entity run by Smash grassroots community members, right? So this PandaCup Nintendo thing was completely separate from Smash World Tour, and obviously being run by Nintendo, it's going to be an indirect competition with the Smash grassroots community members tournament, right? And Smash World Tour had gotten so big that eventually there were going to be some events that would be targeted by the PandaCup that were already part of the Smash World Tour. So as you can see here, they go on to say that the CEO of Panda wanted to be included in parts of the deals joining the PandaCup. Obviously, many of the events didn't want to do that, right? So Panda would approach Beyond the Summit, BTS, to directly get their rights, right? And obviously BTS is one of the better Smash community members. Like they're really involved in the Smash community, obviously holding most and all of the Smash Summits, which are really big community events. So they didn't want to do anything that would make like Smash World Tour and many of the main community members really make them nervous or anything like that. So they didn't initially give up the broadcasting rights, but the CEO of Panda would eventually escalate things, they said that he made a variety of threats, including shutting down their entire Smash operation in 2023 if they didn't eventually join the PandaCup. Obviously BTS, like I said, they held firm, but obviously the Panda pulled their trump card. Like I said earlier, since they were partnered with Nintendo, they could directly get Nintendo involved, putting Panda, BTS, whatever they chose to put at risk. They could put those broadcast rights in jeopardy for all of their tournaments, and that's a risk that's too great to take for many of these tournament organizations. As you saw on Twitter, VG Bootcamp also made a statement saying that the future of their events might be in jeopardy because of the fact that if these certain tournaments are like part of the here's the document that VG Bootcamp wrote, that they're actually going to have to cancel 2 upcoming tournaments because, and one of them being Double Down, which is pretty big, because they were part of Smash World Tour's actual tournament path that had been decided for 2023, and these tournaments could put their whole organization of VG Bootcamp itself in jeopardy, right? If Nintendo attacks the organization, VG Bootcamp, this whole thing for them goes down, and they can't afford that. I mean, this is their whole brand, their whole company, basically. You can't take the risks of a company to have it shut down for something like this. So, you know, Panda had that ultimate negotiating power, is that just that they were partnered with Nintendo, which is some really scummy stuff if we're being honest here. And they continue to say that, you know, they wanted to keep Smash World Tour up. Obviously, this was the big thing, was to keep it up as much as possible. But like they actually said Nintendo was actually helpful in the preparation process for much of the time, which explains how they said, you know, Nintendo was fine. We thought we were good with Nintendo until they kind of sent us this message that said, you know what, you're done. You're not going to hold these finals. You need to cancel everything, or we're going to get involved even more and just start canceling everything. So Panda started to pursue some of the events, like I said earlier, that were already starting on the Smash World Tour, which means Panda and Smash World Tour, even though it wasn't actually like put out like that, behind the scenes these two circuits were actually in competition, even though many people obviously, and for most players, probably just didn't think about it. You know, they thought, oh, I'm going to this tournament where I can qualify for both the Smash World Tour and maybe PandaCup. Oh, sick, I'm going to do both at the same time. They had no clue that all of this stuff was going on behind the scenes. So obviously these tensions started rising, and PandaCup, you know, obviously since Smash World Tour had this huge line of events, PandaCup was running out of events, so they had to start trying to go for events to get on both the Smash World Tour and the PandaCup. For example, certain events that you could qualify for. If you got first place, you would qualify for the Smash World Tour as well as qualifying for the PandaCup, something that hadn't happened before. So Nintendo started to come on in, the events would be announced, and then Nintendo would go in saying, you know, we want PandaCup to be here. It doesn't matter if it's not possible, it's going to happen no matter what. And then when the PandaCup was announced, Nintendo kind of stopped communications based on what Smash World Tour is saying. Basically, you know, the Smash World Tour progressed throughout this year. Obviously, PandaCup wasn't announced until May 26th. So up until now, you know, everything has progressed nicely for the Smash World Tour. They said that they continue to push back the announcement for the championships in the hopes that Nintendo would, you know, help out for the planning in 2023. It's a very hopeful thing since Nintendo has never really helped out the Smash community in general, but after as big an organization Smash World Tour, how successful it was, you know, you could always hope that Nintendo might change their minds, but obviously that didn't happen because actually as you see here, it said that Nintendo's continued to, you know, they stopped talking as much. They didn't respond as much to the World Tour officials and anybody who was running it. They kept reassuring that everything was fine. They kept pushing PandaCup, which is the big thing here, is that PandaCup is kind of at the center of getting to Nintendo, and especially not the people working at PandaCup, obviously, but the people who run PandaCup, the chairman, you know, whoever's in charge at PandaCup or at Panda in general, just making these decisions to try to get Nintendo to push Smash World Tour out of the way so PandaCup could have the spotlight. And then eventually, you know, Nintendo brought down the hammer, and then the shutdown happened when Nintendo just out of the blue, you know, said, you know, we're done. They said that they continue to like explain how the Nintendo rep said that they're going to operate with a commercial license and that we would not be granted one for the upcoming championships or any activity in 2023, basically saying, you know, if you don't sign with us, you're not going to be able to run your events for the next 2 years, and if you don't sign with us, you're never going to be able to run an event ever in the future. And obviously, you know, Nintendo isn't going to clarify much about their decisions. They're just going to have their decisions. And like they said, it felt like as though Nintendo simply did not want the Smash World Tour to continue to exist, which is pretty obvious if you haven't already known. And they actually tried to ask if they could continue running the championships next year, and try to work with them in 2044. But, you know, why would we have this tour that you allowed us to run for this past year and not be able to finish it, at least for this year, get our championships off, and then we won't do it next year, and we'll try to work with you in 2024, which was the next year Nintendo said that they would try to start working with us. But then Nintendo said that, you know, they were aware of the fact that, you know, this was really forced, this was not a good decision, that this would cost a lot of people a lot of time, a lot of money that they had spent traveling to all of these events, all for nothing. And then obviously it happening right before Thanksgiving is also just another scummy move by Nintendo. All they can really do is apologize because there's nothing that they can really do. But the big thing that I wanted to talk about was, you know, the involvement of PandaCup and how shady and scummy some of this stuff is. I think this kind of reveals how PandaCup has been operating since the beginning. Obviously, their initial involvement was, you know, oh, we're going to be the guys that finally get a partnership with Nintendo. We're the community guys that finally get with Nintendo to run a big Smash tournament, a big circuit that's like Nintendo's finally on our side. But I think this really reveals how, like, if these guys were just kind of telling us that they were on the community side, when in reality, they weren't on our side at all. They were just trying to eat up to Nintendo, right? They were just trying to partner with Nintendo, get probably the huge bag that they wanted from Nintendo, run this tournament, and they were going to bend over to whatever Nintendo wanted, right? There was no chance that they were going to, and when this Smash World Tour tournament pops up, a non-Nintendo issued tournament, they were going to do that was direct competition to them. They were going to do whatever they could involving, you know, making Nintendo aware of this, probably pushing to make sure that the big events that were Smash World Tour exclusives became non-exclusives, that they could qualify as PandaCup events as well, you know, trying to get those broadcasting rights and shutting down even like people like VG Bootcamp and like making them aware. Like I feel like that's the biggest thing, is that all of these people that aren't even involved in like Smash World Tour directly, like even just small tournament organizations, and not saying obviously VG Bootcamp is one of the bigger ones, but I'm sure there's many smaller organizations or smaller tournament runners that are going to be affected by this as well. And it's just really scummy overall in general, because it means that for some of the people that had traveled here to the US in general, they're not going to be able to compete in the event they came to, right? So you just messed up their whole travel schedule, all the money they spent traveling from event to event. You know, they don't even have a chance at that 250,000 prize pool, which I think is like really bad. So I think, you know, what everybody's going to be talking about is obviously, you know, when you go to trending, you know, it's really big on trending. We're already up on 8 for Smash World Tour, which is pretty big trending for Smash stuff. Obviously you see some of these TOs, you know, saying that they won't attend any Nintendo or Panda circuit ever again, and honestly I feel like that's the right response in this situation. PandaCup, you know, has continued to show that they do not have any of our best interests in mind. You know, doing something like this will absolutely, like, this is ridiculous. The fact that that this could happen and that there's going to be no repercussions really for it, like the people that, and I think one of the biggest things to outline is that for the people at Panda, obviously, you know, we know this is like a Panda thing, right? This we understand now that Panda's one of the ones that was forced to actually, you know, do the thing that they were supposed to. They would have to, you know, understand that to break their contract, they would need to get their rights released. They would have to force Nintendo to, you know, do certain things for them in order to, you know, get certain tournaments like this out of the way. You know, the real people, like the co-founder and CEO, this guy is probably one of the ones. I mean, you can see the dog piling his newest tweets about the Mario movie, 225 comments, only 27 likes. You know, you go down here. Obviously, you know, there's nobody on his side. I think this guy, there was a response earlier. It's a perfect response. I'm just saying, you know, sup, prepare, good luck on your statement, you know, better start working on that twit longer. And I'm interested to see what PandaCup's response is to this, because obviously at this time, you know, many of the top players have already said that they're going to boycott this event or any other Panda events in the future. So I'm interested to see how this affects Panda, especially because now PandaCup is going to lose a lot of viewership. They're going to lose a lot of participation. And now will Nintendo respond? Will they respond by just saying, you know, will they keep cracking down like they have been, or will something like in 2013, you know, the big community response that happened with Evo getting Melee back and Evo, will something like that happen? You know, that's the best thing that we can do at this point. But obviously I think the biggest takeaway is that PandaCup is really shady. You know, they've been doing stuff behind the scenes, as we've seen here. We've investigated that all of these things line up, they add up, especially with how the timeline works, with how Nintendo operates and how Panda has been operating over the past year. And I think it makes sense to just boycott anything that revolves around Panda. Obviously, you should not boycott the people that work at Panda. You know, they're just employed. You should be boycotting, though, however, the CEO, certain organizations, certain people that run the things behind the curtains. You know, those are the things that you should be boycotting. And, you know, for these events, you know, I expect to see a large drop in the PandaCup. So what are your guys' thoughts on this? Do you guys have anything else that you guys want me to investigate regarding this matter? You know, I'm sure a lot of more information is going to come out. I'm interested to see if the CEO of Panda, Dr. Alan, will put out a twit longer anytime soon, or whether they'll kind of wait for the storm to simmer and actually see if the PandaCup viewership declines. But as always, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will see you guys next time.